So this evening I'll come out onto this field. This is usually quite a good field for foxes and also for deer. There's a wood just at the bottom here, and you quite often get deer come wandering out of that wood out onto this field and cutting up and through into another wood, either down that way or down this way. But there's also been some signs of foxes and that about, so this should be quite a good field to test out some gear that I've currently got on test at the moment. First thing I've got, which I'm really loving and will hopefully have for a long period of time, is the Pulsar Mergers. These are the latest thermal binoculars that Pulsar brought out. Scott Country very kindly sent me these to use. These are the upgrades from my accolades that I had before. They're nice and clear, nice and sharp, and they've got a nice big display on them. And yeah, so far I've been really impressed with these, really like them. And of course they've got a built-in laser rangefinder as well, which is really cool. The other thing that I've got is I have got a Zeiss DTC 338 clip-on, which basically clips onto the front of your day scope and converts it to a thermal device. So I'm hoping to have a little play around with that and try that out. The other cool thing that I've got is completely different rifle. We are using a Mauser M12 rifle. This is in 243. I've got to say, it's a very accurate little rifle. I'm impressed with it. Lovely little sort of compact rifle for stalking. Usual MAE T12 Scout moderator on there. Using the Zeiss scope on this purely so we can use it with the clip-on. Not that you can't use it with any other scope, but it just works rather nicely for this one because it's got a very low base mag on it as well. Goes right down to two times base mag. And I've also stuck a trigger cam on there, so hopefully we can get some footage if we see anything through the scope, so you can actually sort of see, kind of get an idea what it's like, picture quality and that through the scope. So this field I've been baiting up for the last couple of days just with some odds and sods, my out-of-date meat and things like that. So I'm hoping I might be able to draw a fox in after dark. But yeah, I'm also hoping sort of in the next half hour or so we might get a deer walk out, so I'm sort of rushing through this a little bit so we can go down and get set up. And also I don't want to be out too late because I've got COVID and I feel rough as. Yeah, not really loving life at the moment, but right, so you may be able to see it on the camera there. I've got a high seat just down the bottom there, bottom of this field, and I think my plan's going to be to go and sit in that high seat and then just see if anything comes out along the edge of the wood here where I've been baiting. So you can see here, this is what the deer have been feeding on, the old maize husks. There's plenty of them about. They've still got a fair bit of corn and that on them, so they've been picking away at those. You can actually see there's one or two. That's probably roe there, but there's quite a few bigger slots and that up and down here in the mud where deer have walked up and down. And some of them are quite a good size, so it's probably a big fallow buck, and that has been quite regularly up and down through here. Right, so it's starting to get quite dark now, so I'm going to stick the thermal clip-on there. We've probably got about half an hour of daylight left. So I'm still alright to take a deer if anything comes out. Well, it's got to be a buck, obviously, because that's all that's in season at the moment, fallow bucks, so, or a roe buck. So if one of those comes out, I've got about half an hour that I could take that. I'd use the thermal for that simply because using the trigger cam on the back now, I'm not going to get any footage through the scope otherwise. So yeah, it'd just be too dark for the camera to pick up properly. It sort of needs quite a bit of light for that to work properly. Right, so that worked quite nicely. Haven't been all that long, but only about half hour after dark, and a fox just came out of the wood. He was probably about 150 odd yards, something like that, up the edge of the wood there. Come wandering out, and he was just having a little stand around and look-see around in the field. There was a tractor working on the far fields over the back there, so I think he was a little bit sort of keeping an eye on that. There was none the wiser that I was sat here, so I gave him a little squeak, and he come running straight across this maize stubble field, and he come into about 70 metres, so around about 75 yards, something like that. And even on a low magnification, that scope and thermal setup, the DTC 338 clip-on worked really nicely. At the moment it's set on a Conquest scope there, which has got a base mag of 2, so a nice low base mag, and yeah, works nicely. Good combination there, because you can zoom right in on it. I would say that probably works quite well up to maybe 8 to 10 mag, but after that it starts to pixelate a little bit, as you'd expect, because in essence you'll just zoom in your scope in on a digital screen. So, but yeah, so that's one down. Right, so I was getting a bit nippy up in the high seat there, and not feeling at the best anyway. Thought I'd have a little stroll around. So what I'm going to do is I've got the Recon tripod there up on the high seat here, so I'm just going to walk out and look at that fox, and then maybe have a little wander around and see if I can find one out in the fields behind. I've seen one or two about. I did have a little squeak, and I did manage to pull one into this field, but he was coming in lovely, and then I don't know what put him off, but I don't know if he got a whiff of that fox that's dead in the field there, or he just caught a bit of light or something off of my my little recording device there, my trigger cam, that sort of gives a bit of light off, so he might have spotted that or something, I don't know, but or he might have even just caught my scent down the field. It's pretty still night, but I don't miss much these foxes, so whatever it was anyway, he sent him on his way, and he didn't want to know, so it's one for another night. Right, let's go have a look at this fox anyway. Okay, so there's our fox, dead as a doornail. Right, so I think what I'll do is pick that up and then go for a little wander around the farm. So I've had a bit of a wander around these fields and that, some cattle and that in the next field down, so I didn't go wandering through that too much, but I had a little wander around some of the back fields here, and it's quite nice now because it's all been cut. This is all standing maize, but it's all been cut a few weeks back, so it means I can actually sort of get about on here and have a look around. But there's been a few foxes around. I've seen several, probably. I've probably seen 3 foxes around this evening, I suppose, on these 2 or 3 fields. But annoyingly, each time they either were a little bit too far out, and I tried to squeak them, and for whatever reason they didn't want to know, or I actually had one that was in probably too close up around the back here. It was probably only about sort of 60 yards just behind me on this field, but I couldn't take a shot because there's a lane just behind there, and you just never know if there's someone on it. So yeah, certainly not worth the risk for a fox. So there'll be definitely a couple more about for the next outing down there. So I think I'm gonna give it a knock on the head for tonight. It's my 20th anniversary, so I probably ought to get home before it's too late. But I think, seeing that I've seen a few foxes around, and there's been some deer tracks and that up here, I think what I'll do is I'll pop back in the morning and have a little look as well, if the weather's alright. So I'll have a little look tomorrow and see if we can find something, and I'll give you a better rundown on the gear and that I've been using this evening too. So it's just gone 6 in the morning, and as you can see it's just starting to get light. back in the maize field. At the moment there's nothing in here apart from a few rabbits, but I think I'll walk down to the high seat, have a sit in the high seat for an hour and just let it get dark, let it get light, sorry, and see if anything comes out on this field again. So it's turned out to be a cracking morning this morning, lovely and sunny and a bit warmer now than what it was first thing. But we haven't seen any deer, which is unusual. I thought we were seeing one on this field. There's plenty of tracks all across it, but that's just hunting for you. So we didn't even see a fox, which was surprising. There's only one about on here somewhere. But this was the gear that I was using last night. You can see I put the Zeiss DTC 338 back on the front there. That is the thermal add-on we were using last night. So you unlock that turn, there we go, and that comes off as easy as that and goes back on the same way. There's only 4 buttons on this because a lot of this is controlled through the app. Once you've set it up, then there's not really much you need to do with it. This button here, this swaps between the red hot, white hot, black hot. That swaps between those. You've got 4 different colour palettes there. Obviously a power button, and these are more just to scroll through the menu, which you access by a long press of the selector button, I believe, and then you just got your focus on the front there. So it has an internal battery which you recharge via the little port there. I charged this last night and it's still showing a full charge, and I used it all of last night and this morning as well for a little bit. So battery life certainly isn't anything to be concerned about with this unit. But yeah, it has been really nicely made, and it's quite sleek on the front of your rifle there, and it doesn't seem to affect the balance too much. Might put a little bit of weight further forward, as you'd expect with any front mounted unit, but it does do a very good job of turning your standard day scope into a thermal optic. You will notice the footage that I recorded last night. I played a little bit back when I got home, and it was quite sort of blurry. It wasn't very clear. It's nowhere near as clear as what you actually see through this. I think recording it on that trigger cam didn't really do it any favours, to be fair. I don't think that lights the light back off the screen. So yeah, it is a lot clearer than what the footage shows. The only downside to this is it doesn't record directly to this unit, but you can stream it to a phone, so you should be able to record it from there, I believe. But for a lot of people that probably isn't a real issue. It basically does exactly as you'd expect from a Zeiss product, does what it says on the tin. So that is a very good little unit. The locking ring on there does do a good job of holding that in place, and you're not getting any loss of zero. Now what you do with this is you pair this to the Zeiss hunting app, and from there you can adjust it within, well, I think millimeters to get it bang on where you want it. And it's very effective app actually. It's very impressive. The whole setup with the app is very good. So interestingly, I've just been comparing the Pulsar Mergers to the Zeiss thermal clip on there, and on that scope, looking through that in daylight as we are now, literally just looking through it a minute ago, and picture quality is practically identical through these as what it is through that scope. I can see just as much detail with these as what I can through that with that clip on the front there. So that just goes to show the quality of that product. Now you're not really getting that on the footage, well, you're not getting there at all, to be quite honest. That trigger cam there doesn't do anything to show the quality of the picture you actually get through the scope. Now I've just tried to record a little bit just using my phone on the back of the scope there, which I'll play now, which should hopefully, I'll see if I can do a split screen, and it should show the comparison between that and the trigger cam footage, which I've recorded at the exact same time. So as you can see from that, the trigger cam footage is certainly nowhere near as good as what you actually see through the scope itself. The rifle there we're using, that's Mauser M12, again another rifle that's on test in 243. Really accurate little rifle that I've been very impressed with that. That's nice, I haven't had that all that long, but that's going to be being used on quite a few shooting show and shooting and country TV videos. And as usual, Recon tripod there, one of Scott Country's products, and a very good stable shooting platform. And of course the other thing I've been using, again from Scott Country, along with all these bits, is the Pulsar Merger thermal binoculars. These are very, very sharp. I'm just having a little look round now at these trees now. I mean, you can even see the shadows of the branches against the trunks of the trees. There's a couple of squirrels down there in the trees there that I've been watching earlier. They are 150 metres away, so you get an idea of just how clear these are from that little video clip, hopefully. But very nice to use, just like a standard pair of binoculars. The only thing that did surprise me, I didn't put the focus on the bridge there. It's on the end of the eyepiece, which takes a little bit getting used to, but you can use it one-handed though, and that's quite a easy to move little thumb wheel to focus it there. I'm doing that now just with my finger there. It just rotates quite easily, so that's not a problem. You can still use them one-handed. Laser rangefinder built in, very, very good, very accurate. So yeah, these are very similar to the Pulsar Accolades that came out before. There's a couple of nice little features which I like about it though, which they've added to these. One is there's a tiny little sensor just by the eyepiece there, which when you bring this up to your face, instantly brings the units on. And when you take them down from your face, within probably 2 or 3 seconds, it cuts out, so you don't get that light shining up across your chest and face. And it also saves a little bit of battery. So the batteries on these, you've got an internal battery, and you've also got another battery in the bridge here. So I can just pop that out, there we go. That is the other battery, and that drops in there. So that goes in there and locks in quite neatly. And yeah, so pretty much just like a standard pair of binoculars, but with thermal capabilities. So very, very nice, very, very clear, and you've got a slightly bigger display on there as well, which makes them really nice to use. Great little unit. So yeah, watch out for more videos to come.